It's 6:30. At this time, I'd like to open the Administrative Services Committee meeting for May 6, 2019. Please call the roll.
Councilor Cordino.
Here.
Councilor DeMasi.
Here.
Councilor Hill.
Here.
Councilor Tezzarero.
Here.
Councilor Wilmot.
Here. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the April 15, 2019 committee meeting. Councilor Hill, Councilor Tezzarero.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMasi.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Tezzarero.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes. Is there any old business to attend to? I see a hand up over here in the corner.
Thank you, Councilor. I just want to let you know that the bond that you previously authorized for the fire truck, the official bond resolution will be in the meeting Monday night from the bond council.
Very good. Thank you. Any other old business? Seeing none, going to the second old business category. Councilor Gozick requests discussion regarding the purchase of a slide for Washington Square Park, which is East Park. I handed out to all the councilors copies of the information that we were given previously. And at this point, the first order of business, I believe, is there were three options on the table that you have in your packet. And we need to discuss which of those three before we can go any further with this. Option one, for those people who are in the audience and don't have the copies in front of them, option one is a playground called the Wave Poly Slide, 72-inch deck for $7,873. Option two is called the Rush Winder. The cost is $7,723, difference of about $150. And those two items are quoted by a company called Parkitex. The third item that we have in our packet is from a company called Compan, and they have a estimated price of $19,084.32. Each of you have pictures of what they look like in the specs. Does somebody want to chime in here? Yes, Councilor DeMasi.
I would. I've looked these over good, and I truly feel that option one is our best option. And it's not, I feel definitely when you look at the option three, it isn't in need of all that. We have a lot of that same equipment there now. I think it's just not needed to go to that big of a playground, of a slide with all the attachments that go with it. Option one, I love the looks of that one compared to option two. So I would vote to go with option one.
All right, very good. That does seem to fit the bill for a slide, since they're missing a slide at the playground. Just as a side note, I didn't mention it, but as we all know, Novellus, through the ORA, is donating $10,000. This is a project that Novellus started 4 or 5 years ago. The playground equipment that's there now replaced old equipment, and Novellus had a big hand in that and paid quite a bit of money for that initial playground. So this is just a continuation of their commitment, and they're pledging up to $10,000 for the cost of the slide. So if we were to go to with option one, and I'm not saying we're doing that right now, but if option one is decided, there actually would be no outlay of money for the city of Oswego, because the cost was $7,873. Anybody else have anything to throw in here? Yes, Councilor?
Says the $7,873, does that include installation costs?
It includes delivery. If you read this, there would be some prep work, from what I understand, by the DPW. These have to be sunk into the ground with concrete piers. So there would be additional work that would have to be done by the DPW, but it can be done in-house. There would be no additional cost to the city. In fact, if they put up $10,000, there would be about $2,100 that could go towards the cost of the concrete and, in theory, the labor that the city donates in kind. Is there anybody else? Councilor Tezzarero.
You know, after looking at the options that we're talking about, option one looks the safest as far as the accessibility. Handrails, steps. If you look at option two, I don't know exactly how that would work. You know, not seeing it in person, but that would, you know, I don't know how, we may have more problems there, even though I do like the concept of option two. But the more I've looked at it, I think option one's more safe.
All right. Any other comments? If we're in agreement for option one, really there's no need for the council to make a resolution because we don't have to pony up any money. So really what we need to do is just to confirm or agree to accept the donation from the ORA for $10,000. So I guess by a show of hands, who wants option one?
I've already run my race on this one, guys.
So I guess that's informally 6-1.
Point of
Yes.
order. I would recommend a resolution to accept the gift. I think it should be formalized. But
Good idea, Counselor. So at this point, then, yes, Counselor.
I'll make a motion to accept the gift of $10,000 from the Village.
I'll second it.
Counselor
and
DeMassey.
that's for the purpose of receiving the slide.
For the purpose, yes. Can you make sure you word it that way in the minutes? Okay. I think that's the end of old business for the slide.
You have to call the roll. Call the roll on that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm still on vacation.
Yes.
So then the DPW will take care of ordering the slide and, or ORA will, who will manage?
We'll handle that through Onondaga Purchasing. Please call the roll on the resolution.
Counselor Cordino?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Tezzararo?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes. All right, moving along to item number 1 under communication. Mayor, I'm sorry, that item was pulled, I was told just a few minutes ago, so we're going to jump to item number 2. Justin Rudzik, Director of Economic Development, requests authorization for the City Chamberlain to complete a transfer of funds for the removal of hazardous waste from the Flexo Wire site.
Good evening, councilors. Unfortunately, Justin's not able to be here this evening, so I will be filling in his stead. This will probably look familiar, as it is actually having to do with the item that was voted on last year in 2018. But the company name has changed, and that was not done by the end of the year last year. So the payee has technically changed. It's still the same folks, but it was Housing Visions, which is now the Harbor View Square LLC. So it seems to be an administrative revision. I don't know if Chamberlain has anything else to add.
It didn't complete the transfer last year, so we'll be coming out, so it has to be reallocated for the new business.
All right, well, that's basically a bookkeeping move. Seems simple enough. Any questions or comments for Mr. Stahl? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor DeMassey, Councilor Hill.
Counselor Cordino?
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey?
Yes.
Counselor Hill?
Yes.
Counselor Tezzararo?
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Stahl.
Thank you.
Item number 3, Kevin Caracoli, City Attorney, has received a request from the Oswego Players and Oswego Art Association to seek favorable consideration for repairs to be made to property owned by the City of Oswego, known as Building Number 30, located at Fort Ontario. Mr. Caracoli?
Good evening. This, you will recall, was considered in part earlier this year. This is a proposal to replace the furnaces and the HVAC systems in both the Oswego Players side of Building 30 and the Art Association side of Building 30. When it was first presented to the council, there may have, I think there was some, I don't know if it would be called confusion, but the way it was laid out, it was termed in various options. An option 1 and an option 2, and then a second option 1 and a second option 2. There was authorization for option 1, which was essentially the purchase of a new furnace for the players' side of the building. There was an option 2 that dealt with some additional HVAC for the stage area. And then there was a separate option 1 and 2 for the Art Association. Essentially the same thing, but the building is so large and the current units are too small to cover the entire building. So that was the essence of the proposal. Somehow when it reached you all in February, it was simply option 1 of the first side of the building, the player's side, which was authorized at the approximately $16,000 and change, $10, I believe. The whole other subset, it's in your packet. There are many representatives of the players and the Art Association here to further explain the need for these improvements. When I met with them, I said there's going to be 2 fundamental questions, and I don't want to steal anyone's thunder here, but I think it was in the memo as well. Number 1, are these repairs truly needed to a city-owned building, by the way? And number 2, can we afford it? And if we can, where would the money come from? So those are open-ended questions that will have to be answered. The first part, in terms of are the improvements necessary or needed, I'm going to defer to Paul Kinney, who's the president currently of the Oswego Players Theater Group, and he can kind of illuminate you all on the various need for these improvements. As a sub part of this overall presentation, it was also pointed out that the landing area, or well, essentially it's a landing where you come up to the buildings, is in pretty serious decay. I think there were some photographs in the packet that were shown. So this is, again, a city-owned building. It's a historic building. It houses some of our arts and cultural resource organizations. But ultimately, it comes down to costs and need. And so with that, I'm going to defer to Mr. Kinney. I'm happy to answer any legal-oriented questions. And there may be, not to put her on the spot, but there may be a need to defer to the Chamberlain here as well. So, Mr. Kinney?
Thank you, Kevin. Good evening. My name is Paul McKinney, and I'm president of the Oswego Players. And I have with me Lori Kester, president of the Art Association. We have a group of our board members and sub-members. 55 years ago this year, the city was very gracious in leasing us one of the old Army barracks over at the Fort Complex, with the idea that we would maintain it as a theater portion and an art portion to the building. And we're very proud of that. And unfortunately, the building houses one original furnace, 55 years old, and the second one almost equally as old. And they are on the brink of really not working any longer. We had $800 invested last summer in our furnace, and at that time we were told that it is on its last leg. I want to take a minute, if I can, just to thank, first of all, Mayor Barlow and Kevin, that we've been talking over the year in terms of some pretty basic constructional needs of the building, the first of which obviously are the furnaces and air conditioning. Without them, we can't operate. But secondly and thirdly, most importantly, we have exit doors on the entire building that are out of code, 2 of which are on the handicap exits that sometimes don't even function. They don't open. And Kurt Miller has been there and inspected and has told us that they're totally out of code. We understand that he is working on getting bids to have those replaced. And probably most importantly of all, in terms of a safety feature, those of you that have been over to the Players in the Art Association, the Civic Arts Center as it's called, we have the original cement slab that goes down the entire length of the building. And that is the original slab. So that's been there since, I think, 1906. And it is literally separating from the building. It's now at a slant. We've had 2 minor accidents just in the past year. A gentleman fell, and an older lady also tripped. And there was a misperception for many years that they could not be replaced because the building has been designated as a historical building. But we have received permission from the historical group that they can be, as long as they're replaced with a alternate form that maintains the same dimensions. So we've gone over that hurdle. But tonight we're here to ask for your support in getting our air conditioning and furnaces replaced. And we appreciate it. We appreciate it very much. Yes, sir.
Councilor Tesorerio.
Have you ever tried to budgetize money?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever tried to go to a budgetized money to improve the building?
Yeah, excellent question. When we first started meeting with the mayor, we started exploring what are some options in terms of grants. And we met with the Parks and Recreation group, and we were told basically don't even bother to ask, that it would be pushed to the bottom of the barrel in terms of that type of grant. We also applied to the Shinneman Foundation and received the same response. However, that was because the groups don't own the building. The building is officially owned, by the city. But we were told by Karen Getz that, again, that type of grant is really a low priority. So we've explored, areas to see if we could seek some of those monies, but just to kind of hit a brick wall. Yes?
Well, I think what you do is a wonderful thing, and it's a big asset
Thank
to
you.
the city of Oswego.
Thank you.
There's got to be another way that we can maybe help and get you the money you need. Unfortunately, in this budget year, we might not have the money because our budget goes in what month?
End of August, September,
Yeah.
first week of September.
So we're looking at another year, unless it comes under some sort of emergency funding. But, a wish list would be nice for us to see, and how much it was going to cost, prior to us just, making the decision right now. And I'm not saying that we can't do anything, but it's very difficult right now. And I think I can speak for many members of the council that, we have contingency accounts, but, it would be difficult also. Now, if we had advance notice, when the budget comes out, we could budgetize. We have the right to do that, we as the council, I believe, don't we? Don't we, Rob?
Yeah. Well, with all due respect to Councilor Tesorerio, we need to decide whether we want to go forward, and once we just make that decision, if we do go forward, then we'd have to find the funds. Councilor Tesorerio is correct that we didn't budget for it in the 2019 budget, but that doesn't mean that somehow we couldn't find possibly the funds. The question I have is more of a fiscal responsibility question. The 7 of us here are responsible for using taxpayer money responsibly. And I see that in the packet there was only one bid from one heating air conditioning company. Did you seek bids from anybody else? Normally we get 3 for projects. Now we're over almost $50,000 now.
Again, an excellent question. Yes, actually, when we got to a point where we were ready to put out the bids, I talked with Mayor Barlow, and he in turn spoke with Bernie Mahoney in Syracuse, who does all of the bidding. And it was suggested that we submit the affordable heating bid to him, and that he in turn would seek other bids. So at that point, it was out of
Yeah.
you know, my control. However, I did receive a second call from Bernie, and he had talked with Affordable Heating, and he said that to even consider the bid, we would have to consider an issue of prevailing wages. So Affordable came back and adjusted what was the original bid, and that went back to Bernie, and Bernie said, A-OK, we'll send it back to the city with the understanding that there would be no problem in terms of Affordable Heating, you know, doing the job. So again, that was our part of the process. Steve, who's the owner of Affordable Heating, and I understand, you know, the process in terms of bids, he's been working with us now for almost 2 years on, you know, trying to come up with a reasonable plan to remedy the problem, because it is a unique building. It is an old building. And unfortunately, when the numbers were impacted significantly because of the prevailing wages issue. So what was originally proposed had to be modified. But yes?
Councilman McBurney?
So I was just wondering if you could clarify something for me, Kevin. I thought we authorized the 16,000 for the heating and cooling. And if I read this correctly, what it's saying is that the total is actually $50,000. We've already authorized 16 of that.
Correct.
So we're really not looking for a whole 50,000. We're just looking for the difference.
Councilor Hill?
But my understanding was that when we passed the bonding authorization, there was a certain allocation in that bonding resolution that was set aside for the players, the Safe Haven building, the water plant roof, the lift station roof, the Munn Street widening project, and the fire truck. So were those all components of that larger bonding package that we...
The resolution 383 just gave us permission to bid it, so we had to make the decision after the bids were here whether we were going to fund or bond.
Okay.
We didn't have the expenses to say we're going to bond. We have to have a minimum.
So we weren't compiling that, or those items with...
The group that we will bond or fund.
Okay.
That permission to bid is to bid, so that if we have to bond, we're all set bonding, and if we have to, if we choose to fund it, we also have to bid. So we're at the bidding stage.
Okay.
We haven't authorized the bond yet.
So in essence, what you're saying is if we authorize this additional $32,000, $33,000, that it would be part of, let's say, a bond resolution.
Well, I remember we actually considered the total dollar, which included those repairs,
Yes.
the roofs, everything, when we first talked about the bonding.
But
So I'm wondering where's the
But
difference?
didn't include that, the $49,000, it was just 17 at that point.
No, actually, we didn't have any numbers at that point. It was just a lump sum that was allocated to the Safe Haven Museum and the Players Building. And I thought that sum was quite large.
The resolution just says bidding.
It just said what?
Bidding.
Okay.
Bid the project, so that we can determine whether we were going to bond or fund.
Okay, because when we met, we actually talked dollar figures. Yes. Okay.
If
So-
I could,
Those were estimates before the bid.
Okay. It
So
just
we
seems
could-
like
We could wrap this whole thing into that bond, is that what you're...
that was the original intention.
Right.
That was my understanding, was that this would be wrapped in with all those other
Right,
projects.
so yeah, if we authorize this additional cost, we could just include that into the bond resolution that we're going to go out and borrow money. So, in essence, that's really what we have to decide here tonight.
Okay.
And if I could, again, I don't want to put Chamberlain on the spot, but I think this is correct, that we're still waiting for some aspects of that overall bonding or financing package, some of those numbers.
Right.
So no final decision's been made. That would ultimately come back to this board. I think for purposes of this particular matter, it's the question of whether you're going to authorize that additional monies to be considered as part of the funding or bonding, however it shakes out.
All right, that's great clarification on that, then. So really, that's what it comes down to, then, is if we're going to vote on this, we're going to have to vote on whether we want to spend the additional money, since we already approved the $16,000 and change. Any other comments from the council? Councilor Hill?
I recall from the meetings that my understanding was there was a pool of approximately $150,000 that we were going to allocate to those two projects. So I don't know where the disconnect is coming in. I'm not sure where that changed or how this is different now. So I mean, I guess, correct. These were informal discussions, but I mean, I would, based on our meetings, I would say that we go forward with the bid process and handle it the way that we had discussed previously, which was to include it in the bond package. I mean, assuming these are necessary repairs and we can justify that that is the case.
Right, I mean, that really is the first question. Are we in agreement that this is necessary and it is a city-owned building and we need to make sure it's kept up? Yes, Councilor Gill.
So in the material, it says that the heating and cooling needs to be repaired to keep the buildings up to code. Is that accurate, Mr. Miller? Sorry. I'm sorry. In the material, it says that the heating and cooling systems would need to be upgraded to keep the building up to code. Is that accurate?
Yeah, you definitely need heat.
So it is so it's a necessary repair?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely. And we do have bids back quotes back for the doors as well. Waiting for the mayor to review them.
Okay.
What about that concrete area? I mean, we've only just touched on the $49,000 for the heating and air conditioning. What about that concrete area that you said is pulling away from the building? I mean, you don't have any dollar numbers on that one?
None that I know of, no. That was just in a discussion, the last discussion we had with the mayor and with Mr. Kells was that that was a separate issue and that it would be something that...
Can I ask Mr. Miller his opinion, since he's the one that's seen that building? What about this concrete pad or area that's pulling away from the building? How severe, and I mean, what are we looking at? Can you give us a little more detail?
I'm not really too familiar with that concrete there. I haven't really paid a lot of attention to it. I do know that the doors and there's a few other things inside that need to be taken care of, but I can certainly take a look at the concrete ramp and give you my opinion on it.
All right. Well, I mean, tonight we're just addressing the heating and air conditioning, I would say, at this point. Councilor Tesorio?
Well, if we're going to go to bond, wouldn't we want to lump everything together, get quotes on the concrete lamp like you suggested, Councilor Cordino, the handicap doors? Wouldn't we want to just say, okay, here's what we need to fix the building, and then we're done with it? I mean, then this process has to start over again.
Well, we don't really know the severity of the concrete. I mean, it sounds like the air conditioning and the heating is a priority.
Well, I agree with you, but can I ask Ms. Code, would we be better off having a lump sum to fix this building and go out once?
To group the projects together, yes.
Yes. We would be?
Yes.
That makes sense to me, only because then this process would be done and the building would get fixed, and you know, it might not take that long. That's just my take on this thing. I'm all in favor of fixing it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, let's do this once instead of coming back 2-3 times asking for more money.
May I ask a question? Are you suggesting then that we could possibly address these three main issues? Wow, that would be utterly fantastic. And
Well, I think if we're going to do it, and we're going to do it right, that's the way to do it. Because otherwise, you're going to be back here for, Mr. Miller, Kurt said, you got other issues there. Let's take care of all of them.
well, I'm not. Are you Kurt? Well, Kurt and I have talked on the phone a number of times.
Yeah.
And I just, not to embarrass you, but he's been wonderful in terms of coming into the building and inspecting it. And we've done some work ourselves. But if the city, that would be a monumental, wonderful task, and it does deserve this attention. It's a very special place for a lot of people in this city. My only concern right now is, and I think the gentleman, the chairman, made the point about, we're very concerned about the heating and air conditioning units. When I say they're on their last leg, I truly mean they're on their last leg. But I understand also the bigger picture, but I appreciate that thought.
Well, we're only a few weeks away of going to another committee meeting. That gives you plenty of time to get bids on the other things you need done. This comes back to the committee, and then we vote.
That would be fantastic.
Okay? Okay?
Councilor DeMasi?
I'm all for the heating and air conditioning. I feel that we need to stay and vote on this for tonight and move forward with everything else at a later time. I think we need to stay focused on the main priority at this time instead of trying to change this into something else.
Would you like to make a motion?
I would.
Is there a second? Councilor Hill? Please call the roll.
Councilor Cordino?
Yes.
Councilor DeMasi?
Yes.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Tezzararo?
No.
Councilor Wilmot?
Yes.
And this is just for the air conditioning and heating, what we
Yes.
talked about.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And we need a resolution.
City Attorney Caracoli. Item number 4, Nancy Stereo, Personnel Director, is requesting discussion regarding reopening Section 384/-D of the Retirement and Social Security Law. Ms. Stereo?
Thank you, Counselor. This involves a retirement for a police officer. We offer a 20 or a 25-year plan retirement systems for both our police and fire departments. And it was discovered probably about a year ago, that's how long this process takes to get it to you guys, that one of our police officers was enrolled in the wrong plan. We are now trying to fix that. We do have Assemblyman Barkley has proposed the legislation in the Assembly. Senator Ritchie has proposed the legislation in the Senate. What I am looking for tonight is what they call a home rule resolution that would allow the funding for the past service of the police officer involved. Now, this has happened in my research. It happened back in 1988, and it again in 2003. The state has finally, I think, got it down that their forms were very confusing, and they have separated it. So now you either fill out a form for a 20-year retirement or a 25-year retirement. And so I think the process, I don't think this will happen again, but I can't guarantee it either. Now, what I wanted to make sure you guys understand is it's approximately $10,100 that would be amortized, I believe, over a 10-year period. Yeah, and the approximate first year's cost would be $1,350 for us to pay for it. Now, in the past, what they have also done is, because it's a benefit to the member, is ask them to contribute in one way or the other. The percentage rate, and I have no idea, I could not find any rhyme nor reason to it in the research that I did going back to 1988, that they have used was 5.99%. It works out to, for this particular member, based on his hourly rate, it would cost him around 2.4 days of leave. Typically, they take it from their sick time. He is in agreement with giving that up. So what I'm looking for tonight from you is just support to pass the home rule legislation.
All right, very good. Thank you for that detailed explanation. Are there any questions from the council, Ms. Stereo? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Councilor Hill, Councilor DeMasi.
Councilor Cordino?
Yes.
Councilor DeMasi?
Yes.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Tezzararo?
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot?
Yes.
And we need a resolution.
Ms. Stereo probably would do that. Thought so. Item number 5, Nancy Stereo, Chairman of the Procedure Review Committee, requests discussion to amend the credit card policy. Ms. Stereo?
When, in the last Procedure Review Committee, we were having discussions, and it came up that when we We're putting together the list of departments that were the biggest user of travel cards. We left out the DPW. So what I'm asking for tonight is an amendment to the credit card policy to include the Commissioner of DPW to have a $5,000 travel card for his department's use.
All right, any questions from the council? I know that you've worked very hard and diligently on this project, and I thank you on behalf of the council for straightening these little issues out. Can I have a motion, please? Councilor Tesorerio, Councilor Hill.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Tesorero.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Item number 6, Nancy Stereo, Chairman of the Procedure Review Committee, requests approval of the purchasing policy.
Again, the Procedure Review Committee has met several times on this particular item. We met again a week or so ago and put together what I presented to you in your packets is what I hope will be the final version of the city's purchasing policy. We brought in the larger departments to be sure they were included and we had their input, and we asked questions of other people. What have been problems or issues with our purchasing system? We were trying to keep the auditors in mind as well to make sure we weren't doing anything way outside state guidelines, and this is the final product.
All right. Any questions from Ms. Stereo from the council or anybody else? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Tesorerio, Councilor Hill.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Tesorero.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
And we need a resolution.
Ms. Stereo will do it. Item number 7. The City Engineering Department requests that the mayor be authorized to sign agreement number 1 with GHD Consulting Engineers, LLC, to include engineering design services for the combined sewer rehabilitation sanitary sewer investigations. I don't see anybody from the engineering department to speak to this, but I think everybody here on the council probably read the packet. I mean, this is part of the consent decree work, and we all know what that's all about, that our hands are pretty much tied. So are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor DeMassey, Councilor Hill.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Tesorero.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Item number 8. The City Engineering Department requests that the mayor be authorized to sign agreement number 1 with GHD Consulting Engineers, LLC, to include professional engineering services for the design of a storm sewer outfall at West Oneida Street. Again, I don't see anybody here from the engineering department, but we did discuss this several weeks ago about the outfall that has to be taken care of going towards the river. So I don't think there's any issues here. Anybody have any comments or questions? Yes.
Resolution 134, the original 8, has a typo in it, so we're rescinding that one and replacing it with the new resolution.
Got it. Okay. So that's all this is taking care of a typo, you might say. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. Resolution, can I have a motion? Councilor Hill, Councilor Tesorerio.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Tesorero.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Item number 9, the City Clerk's Office has received a request from the Oswego Speedway for a 2019 racing license. Again, this is every year we go through this. They apply for a license to operate, and every year we grant it. So are there any other comments or issues? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Tesorerio, Councilor DeMassey.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Tesorero.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Item number 10, the City Clerk's Office has received applications and deposits from both Chiati Enterprises and Bronze Contracting, LLC, for the 2019 solid waste license. Again, this is standard bookkeeping. They've applied for this in the past. Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Hill, Councilor DeMassey.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Tezzararo.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Item number 11, the City Clerk's Office is requesting permission to have Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. enter into an agreement with General Code for the Map Link feature to our E-Code 360 online code book. And yes, Tress is here to talk to us about it.
Yeah. If you can look at the screens here, we have the city of Easton, Pennsylvania. They already have the map link feature. So if, say I'm moving to Easton and I want to open up a bed and breakfast. The map changes color, shows me exactly where I'm allowed to do that. Also, it gives me a definition of the land use. It tells me how many guest rooms I can have, how big the sign can be. It talks about the parking. Right here is a link which opens up in a separate window right to that section of the code to speak about parking. I go back. And then if I want to live in the historic district, there it is, right there. And if I want to open up that bed and breakfast in the historic district, and it's tough to see because this is light blue, but it tells me right here in the downtown area, that's where I can do that. This will be a great feature for everyone. Code size are here. I showed it to them. It took roughly 3 clicks, and they were sold. Businesses, city hall personnel, you name it. It's very user-friendly. The cost for this is $49.95 for them to build it. This is general code. It goes right in our online code. They estimate it's going to take 3 months to finish building it. It's $14.95 per year maintenance, and that's on top of our $9.95 that we already pay for the online code.
Yeah, I think just in support of trust, just to explain better, not only will it be a big help for us in the code and zoning department, but also for the general public. We'll be able to go online and field some of their own questions to see what is available, what can be done in their neighborhood. For you counselors, when you get a call, so-and-so wants to open a barber shop on East 7th Street, just off of Albany Street. You'll be able to look in there and see that. It explains the codes a little more in depth. I think it makes it more accessible for everybody, the general public. Somebody like Mr. Galloway, who has agents that are sell houses and properties, they can go on there and see exactly how they can market those, what can be done with that property before somebody makes that investment.
Very good. Councilor Tezzararo.
That doesn't exclude special permits or variances, right? I mean, they could always apply.
Correct, yes. That doesn't change anything with what they might need from zoning, but it would give them the general
Okay.
specifications of what is allowed in that area.
Gotcha.
And then from there, they could determine if they need a special permit for that, if they need to go to planning, zoning, or both. Correct.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Any comments or questions, concerns about this? I, for one, think this is a great idea. Certainly, it moves us forward in the zoning and planning stages. I could see this as a big plus for developers who want to come into our city and invest in our city to immediately find out if a site that they were looking at is doable, not to mention our residents as well. So I fully support this. Can I have a motion, please? Councilor Hill. Councilor Tezzararo.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Tezzararo.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 12, Thomas Kells, Commissioner of the Department of Public Works, is requesting permission for the City of Chamberlain to complete a transfer of funds for the scheduled upgrades to the 5th Avenue and Draper Street lift stations. I know Mr. Kells was here earlier, and he had to leave because there was some water main breaks that he's working on. But is there anybody out here that wants to talk about this? This is pretty cut and dry. Councilor Tezzararo?
Yeah, this is much needed. I have one down at the bottom of my ward, and these panels have been in for decades. This new upgrade allows them to control them from the DPW building. It's a better alarm system. They know when they're down. They know what the problem is. They can go out with the right parts. They're not making multiple trips. So this is a very good thing. And we're on schedule to do all of our lift stations. Just a matter of the year that we get, you know, they allocate the money. They allocate 2 or 3 every year. So this is a good thing.
All right, very good. Anybody else? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Tesorio, Councilor DeMassey.
Councilor Cordino?
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey?
Yes.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Tezzararo?
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot?
Yes.
Item number 13, Kevin Caracoli, City Attorney, is requesting an executive session to discuss current or pending litigation, RE property located at 228 West 4th Street. I would entertain a motion to recess. I'm still on vacation. To recess so we can address the other 2 meetings we have. Councilor Hill, Councilor, what's your name again? Tesorio.
Councilor Cordino?
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey?
Yes.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Tezzararo?
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot?
Yes.
At this time, I'd like to call the Physical Services Committee meeting for May 6, 2019 to order. Please call the roll.
Councilor Hill?
Here.
Councilor Wilmot?
Here.
Councilor DeMassey?
Here.
Councilor Goza?
Here.
Could I please have a motion to approve the minutes of our April 15, 2019 committee meeting? Councilor Wilmot, Councilor Gozick.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot?
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey?
Yes.
Councilor Goza?
Yes.
Is there any old business to come before this committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business under communication. Item number 1, the City of Oswego Special Events Committee received a request from Frederick Layton Elementary School for use of a public space in order to host their annual triathlon on Saturday, June 1st, 2019 at 8 a.m. until 11 a.m. I see we have Mr. Stahl here to speak.
Thank you, councilors. As I mentioned earlier, Justin unfortunately is not available, so I'm here on his behalf. Have a couple, looks like, on the agenda, so I'll start with the first one. This is an event that we've held for many, many years. My understanding is very similar to the way it's been in the past, but if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yep. This is a recurring event. Any questions from the council? Could I have a motion, please? Councilor DeMassey, Councilor Wilmot.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot?
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey?
Yes.
Councilor Goza?
Yes.
Item number 2, the Oswego Special Events Committee has received a request from ARC of Oswego County for use of Veterans Park on Friday, September 6, 2019, to host the musical group Flame.
Again, this is also a recurring event, and I think everything's in there, so if you have any questions.
Any questions from the council? Could I have a motion, please? Councilor Wilmot, Councilor Gozick.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot?
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey?
Yes.
Councilor Goza?
Yes.
Item number 3, the City of Oswego Special Events Committee has received a request from the Oswego YMCA to have the vendor fee waived for the Dragon Boat Festival to be held August 7th to 10th, 2019.
Thank you. It's my understanding that this was part of the discussion to begin with. It just didn't make it into the resolution. I believe we're just looking to update that.
So it's more of a technical correction.
Bookkeeping.
Could I please have a motion? Councilor Gozick, Councilor DeMassey.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot?
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey?
Yes.
Councilor Goza?
Yes.
Item number 5, the City of Oswego Special Events Committee has received a request from the Veterans Council of Oswego for use of public space on Monday, May 27, 2019, in order to host their annual Memorial Day celebration.
You skipped 4.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, let's go back to number 4. Number 4, David Thompson, owner of Gibby's Irish Pub located at 8 West 2nd Street, and I didn't go on vacation, requests use of public space on Saturday, June 22nd, 2019, to host the Michelle Wink Memorial Fundraiser event. This is a new event. Mr. Thompson, would you like to speak?
This is for a golf outing for Michelle Wink, who passed away a little over a year ago. She was down at the high school, and she touched the lives of many young adults. We're having the golf tournament at the Stone Creek, and after that we're going to be down to the pub with a dinner, and all the money made for that goes to scholarships for all of Oswego High School graduating seniors.
Thank you. I think this would be a great event. My understanding, you're just looking for a very small section of the street to be closed off for a short period of time.
Just from Van Buren to Lake Street, just a small section
Just a
there.
very small section. Are there any questions? Okay, could I please have a motion?
Thank you.
Counselor Gozick, Counselor Wilmot.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Goodwin.
Yes.
All right, number 5. The City of Oswego Special Events Committee has received a request from the Veterans Council of Oswego for use of public space on Monday, May 27, 2019, in order to host their annual Memorial Day celebration.
Thank you. As we've seen, I think every year that I can remember, this is a wonderful event, and we're looking to do it again this year, so see if there's any
Thank you.
questions.
Could I please have a motion? Counselor Gozick, Counselor Wilmot.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Goodwin.
Yes.
Item number 6, the Special Events Committee, through the Office of Economic Development, has received a request from the Oswego Little League for use of public space in order to host their annual Oswego Little League 5K Run Walk on Saturday, June 1st, 2019.
Well, this one, as much as I like to encourage you not to approve it, because I'll be out there having to run it if you do, this is a recurring event, and I think it is wonderful, and I hope that you all support it as well.
Excellent. Any questions for Mr. Saul? Please have a motion. Counselor DeMassey, Counselor Gozick.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Goodwin.
Yes.
Item number 7, the City
Thank you.
Engineering Department has received a request from Pathfinder Bank Corp. Incorporated for use of public space at 120 East First Street in the 4th Ward in order to install a new pole sign with landscaping area at the base. Is there anyone here to speak to this? Thank you.
Bill Galloway from Central 21 Galloway, and I'm representing Pathfinder Bank on this project. Just a standard sign in public space, fits the whole area down there, and just we need to be in that public space between our parking lot and the sidewalk to construct a sign there.
Okay. Yeah, there was a rendering in your packet. Very nice sign. It's going to be located between, in the green space between the sidewalk and the parking lot. I don't think there'll be any issue there obstructing traffic or anything in it. I think it'll look great. So, any questions? Okay, could I please have a motion? Counselor Gozick, Counselor Wilmot.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Goodwin.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 8, the City Engineering Department has received a request from Teresa Moody, owner of a single-family dwelling located at 58 East 11th Street in the 2nd Ward, for use of public space for a new fence. I did speak with Counselor DeMassey, and she is in favor of this request. Are there any questions on this from the council? Okay. Did you want to add anything, Counselor?
No, it's only going
Pretty
to,
standard.
it's going to really improve the property. It's going to look nice. They have it laid out great.
Thank you. Could I please have a motion? Counselor Wilmot, Counselor DeMassey.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Goodwin.
Yes.
Item number 9, Thomas Kells, Commissioner of the Department of Public Works, has received a request from Monica Waters to donate a memorial bench in honor of Monica and Ronald Waters to be placed at either Brightbeck Park or along Linear Park. Is anyone here to speak to this? Okay. Oh, please go to the microphone. Just step either microphone, it's fine. Want to make sure you get on the recording.
I'm Monica Waters, and I wanted to request a bench at Brightbeck or the Linear Park. They told me there was no more room at Brightbeck, but I'm hoping for Brightbeck, and for a memorial bench for my husband who passed away. In fact, today's his 80th birthday.
There has been some discussion by members of the council that the concentration of benches in Brightbeck Park is kind of tilted over where it seems reasonable. I mean, I'd be happy to maybe go down there with you or to take a look and see if there is a location that still it would make sense to put a bench there.
Okay.
But we're trying to internally try to figure out the best approach. We've historically always just said yes, 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 yes. And if you go down there, there are certain areas that are just so heavily concentrated with benches, it almost takes away
They
from
mentioned the Linear Park on the river, too, which would
Yeah,
be
there's
fine.
plenty of room in Linear Park.
Yeah, I didn't see any bench, evidently they're not down there, there's none down there yet.
Yeah, so, I mean, of course, our preference would be to have it at Linear Park, but if, you know, you're set on having it
Okay.
right back, and there's
That would be
an appropriate
fine.
spot. So Linear Park would be okay?
That would be fine.
And that's okay with members of the council? Okay. Could I please have a motion? Counselor DeMassey, Counselor Gozick.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Goodwin.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 10, Thomas Kells, Commissioner of the Department of Public Works, has received a request from Jack Quigley to donate a memorial bench as a perpetual memorial to the Quigley family to be placed at either Brightback Park or along Linear Park. Is there anyone here to speak to this item?
My family does not exist in Oswego anymore, but 8 of us grew up here, went to school here, and now I'm being brought back by Monica. So I'd like to have a little remembrance of my family in Oswego.
Absolutely. And you are okay with having that bench at Linear Park? If it's okay if it's at Linear Park?
Okay.
Okay, excellent. Any questions? Okay, could I please have a motion? Councilor Gozick, Councilor DeMassey.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Guzek.
Yes.
Item number 11, the Oswego Bookmobile requests use of public space as part of their annual summer literacy program, Driving Books Home. Is there anyone here to speak to this item? Okay. Again, this is a pretty standard request. They use different areas in the city throughout the summer to help improve literacy in the city. I think it's a great event, a great use of public space. Any questions? Could I have a motion, please? Councilor Gozick, Councilor Wilmot.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Guzek.
Yes.
And item number 12, Bernadette Pryor, on behalf of Pryor's Taekwondo America and the Oswego Bookmobile, requests use of public space at Brightback Park on Saturday, May 18th, 2019, in order to host a Breakathon fundraiser. Again, another event that we've seen in the past. Good use of public space. I would recommend that we approve this. Are there any questions? And was there anyone here to speak to this? Could I have a motion, please? Councilor Gozick, Councilor Wilmot.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Guzek.
Yes.
Is there any other business to come before this committee? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Councilor DeMassey, Councilor Gozick.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Guzek.
Yes.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to bring the Planning and Development Committee meeting, May 6, 2019, to order. Call the roll, please.
Councilor Tesorero.
Here.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes, here.
Councilor McBroody.
Here.
I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the March 18, 2019 meeting. Councilor McBroody, Councilor Cordino.
Councilor Tesorero.
Yes.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Councilor McBroody.
Yes.
Is there any old business to come before this committee? I see none. I'll go to the first communication. The city clerk's office has received a request from David Thompson, owner of Gibby's Irish Pub located at 8 West 2nd Street, for a waiver of the noise ordinance in order to host outdoor musical performances. Can I get any comments from the council?
So we would like to, we appreciate your record of non-complaints for your events, and we have a little bit more work on our end to do. We'd like to table it for tonight. We'll definitely be able to get it heard before the end of the month, so we shouldn't interrupt the timeline of June 1st. Okay.
So you're suggesting we table. Can I get a motion to table? Councilor McBroody, Councilor Cordino.
Councilor Tesorero.
Yes.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Councilor McBroody.
Yes.
Is there any other business to come before this committee? I see none. Can I get a motion for adjournment? Councilor Cordino, Councilor McBroody.
Councilor Tesorero.
Yes.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Councilor McBroody.
Yes.
All right, at this time, I'd like a motion to come out of recess for Administrative Services Committee and go into executive session. Councilor DeMassey, Councilor Hill.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Tesorero.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what was it?